Boston College is ready to face off with a historic rival in Syracuse with a big game ahead of them that they need to win. I'll explain why they can win this one and how they'll do it.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black. Thank you all for joining us. I'm the editor and publisher of Eagle Insider and your host of this great podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you all for joining me live. It's Tuesday night. There's another thing going on, but I think some of you might want a break, so that's why we're here to talk about BC football, who has a big game this Saturday against Syracuse. Now, there's a lot of buzz around Syracuse, and rightfully so. You've got an offense that's playing exceptionally well. They just beat Virginia Tech. They're playing probably, better football than they did ever in the last 5 years or so under Dino Babers. And there's a lot of expectations that this game is going to be a blowout for the Orange, that they're going to just blow out BC. I don't agree with this. I don't think this is going to be what that's expecting. You look at the odds. FanDuel has BC as a favorite. Other sites, it's pretty close. Too close to call. I think BC can win this game, and they got to do a few things in order to win it, okay? So all you Syracuse trolls that are just going to jump into my mentions and say, "Oh, Fran Brown's going to beat us and you beat you and blah, whatever." BC has to do a few things right in order to win this game. One of the things that they need to do is they need to control the clock. BC's drives need to take time off that clock. Look, Syracuse has a good offense. They have Kyle McCord, who has 21 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. 6 of those came against Pitt. But you look at what they could do, they've got that. They've got 4 wide receivers with 35 plus receptions on the year. They're putting up 31 points a game. They've got Trebor Penna with 54 receptions and 5 touchdowns. It's going to be a taxing game for BC's secondary. What they need to do, this all goes back to that offense again. Can Thomas Castellanos keep them on the field with sustained drives that does not let Kyle McCord get in any sort of rhythm? I expect he can do that, but can he? We're going to have to see. He's got a bye week. I think a lot of this Vegas odds are impacted by the fact that BC is on a bye week. It gives them a whole, they last played a week from Friday, so they've had over a week off, a chance to lick their wounds, look at themselves, self-reflect, as Bill O'Brien said today, and figure out a way to get back in the win column. I think that getting their offense clicking is going to be a major factor in this game. If BC cannot sustain drives, if Thomas Castellanos is getting them quick 3 and outs, they're going to be in major trouble in this game. BC's got to figure out a way to get this game going so that they're, having McCord sitting on that cold sideline for 5-6 minutes at a drive. Because if they don't, there's a chance they get run out in this game. And I don't think they will. Mitch Wolf of Eagle Insider is going to come on our show later this week. He's going to talk about one key factor that comes up with Syracuse, and it's their tackling. BC should be able to run the ball. They should be able to run the ball effectively with Castellanos, with Kai Robichaux, with Trayshawn Ward, and with possibly Turbo Richard. We don't know what his injury status is. Today, BC had their first media availability with Bill O'Brien. We found out Cam Arnold, the linebacker, is day to day. That's what he said 2 weeks ago when he was hurt and he never played. The bigger factor, honestly, to me is Turbo. Is he going to be able to play? But no, we didn't get a chance to ask him about that. So we get him again tomorrow. I'm going to make sure that we ask about Turbo Richard because I want to know more about that. So those drives are going to be important. The other key factor, and this sounds silly, but we've had this issue over and over and over again. Can BC punt the ball? Like, you don't want to have to punt it, but you're gonna have to. BC can't survive with 20 to 30 yard punts, 20 to 32 yard punts. Just not going to happen. Syracuse is too good. Look, I have been the biggest Syracuse hater on the Locked On Network. I don't believe in this team at all. I think BC can beat this team. But if BC is going to do things that are going to beat themselves, they're going to lose this game. I'm going to say that right now. If BC makes mistakes, if BC cannot play a 60-minute game as Bill O'Brien has said, if they give the ball up with prime position for Kyle McCord, they're going to lose. But if they can fix that, I see this as a win and a way for BC to catapult here. I am not on board with Syracuse as this team that's going to thrash BC. They just beat Virginia Tech, who did not have Chiron drones, who did not have Byshell Tootin, and it took them to overtime at home to win that game. I can guarantee. I will say this right now. I can guarantee you that if BC played Virginia Tech in Blacksburg without Byshell Tootin or Chiron drones, BC would have won that game. They would have. So all this talk, I know, this is the thing with the media, right? They win that game, and there's no context to this. They beat a team that didn't have two of their best players. That is a big deal. And I think BC is better than Syracuse. But if they lose, I want to say this, BC has not performed to the level that they should be. So they've got to sustain drives. They've got to be able to punt and be able to flip the fields if they need to. Because I trust this defense. They're not going to be perfect, but they will make some plays to stop Syracuse. But the offense has to flip it and reverse it. We'll get into more. And I want to talk about some basketball things that I've been thinking about. Now we're 24 hours away. What are my thoughts now after watching one game of BC basketball? I'll give you some overreactions and what I think about BC basketball in just a moment. Your sex life is important, but your schedule is busy. You don't have the time to go to a doctor's office to get treated for ED. Through HIMS, you can get a personalized ED treatment without stepping foot outside your door. HIMS is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. HIMS provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis and their generics that can run up to 95% cheaper. Start your free trial. Visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's hims.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. This product mentioned are chewable compounded products, which are not approved or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and importance of safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to do to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. I love this because if you're watching a game and you're seeing something and you're going, oh, this team is about to run away with this. Maybe the Patriots are starting to get close and you're thinking, oh, they're going to get that spread. You can go on FanDuel and get live spread. It could be in the middle of the fourth quarter. You can still get it. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and do so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black. And thank you all who are listening. And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of my episodes from earlier this week. They're all in our feed. Hit those likes. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On BC. And thank you all who made Locked On BC your first listen every day. Now, Boston College basketball won their first game by, 9 points yesterday at Conti Forum, beating the Citadel for their second straight win against the Bulldogs, and opening the 2024-25 season with a win. Now, on yesterday's episode, I gave a quick rundown. Now that I've had a chance to sit with this game, think about what it meant, what I think about BC basketball and where it's going from here. I still am not positive about this program. You saw a game where Dion Brown had 5 points. He played 17 minutes. He's supposed to be your scorer, but he broke his nose. He has sports hernia injury. He's going to be a major factor if this team is going to improve, because what I saw yesterday showed me a team that I don't think is going to be very competitive moving forward and in the ACC. They made too many mistakes. Their offense looked really stale. And I thought there was no real identity of the way this team played. You saw Chad Venning, the transfer center from St. Bonaventure, go out, and he looked okay at times, but he was doing a lot for this team. Jaden Hastings got in foul trouble early. He was out. He's going to be better than Armani Mighty, I'll tell you that. But will he be effective? That's going to be a bigger question. You had Chaz Kelly, who you sent to ACC Media Day, went 0 for 4 from the floor, played about 15 minutes, got in foul trouble, and did nothing. BC won this game by 9, but you were playing against a team that was filled with D2 and D3 transfers, and you had moments where this looked like it was going to turn into a game. That was worrisome to me, and it's still worrisome to me because no one on this team could figure out how to slow them down once it started going. When you were shooting 27% from three-point range, you got to be able to get your offense and your ball movement to the point where you get guys open who can make some shots. I didn't see any of that. I didn't. So I am very bearish on this team right now. I don't see BC basketball as competitive. They play on Friday against VCU. And if they do what they did against Citadel, they're going to lose. And it's going to be embarrassing. The offense is slow. It's lethargic. It's not very effective. You have no one on your team that's very good at shooting. I mean, like if I'm going to put up, I was going to put up a graphic. We have this whole system of like your locked on player of the game. You can do it for football. You can do it for basketball. Obviously, you would want to put Donald Hand on there because he had 22 points and 10 rebounds. That on, like, when you just look at that looks like a great game. But he shot like 25% from the floor. Even though he scored 22 points, most of those points came from free throws. So what I'm saying here is Boston College basketball, they have started off slow most years. Last year when they played Citadel, they played slow with Quentin Post and Devin McLaughlin out there. This year, they did the exact same thing. They were slow. They weren't effective. You got to hope. Hope is your only chance here. That it was the first game and that they're going to snap themselves out of that and get themselves up to that next level. There's plenty of positive guys that I watched that I think okay, maybe that's going to happen. But I've also watched enough BC basketball to say, I'm not sure that it is going to happen and that we're going to have some big problems. I think Friday is going to be a major test. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to answer that. You need to have Dion Brown a lot healthier. Yeah, he had a broken nose, but he's got to be able to score more than 5 points. This is a guy that was coming in scoring 20 a game. That's what you need right now. You look at what BC basketball just lost in the portal. Look at the first game. Devin McLaughlin scored 24 points and didn't miss a shot. Claudel Harris was lethal for Mississippi State from beyond 3-point range. You lost a ton of talent. And I'm not sure you have the talent to replace that right now. So I'm concerned about this BC basketball team. And I'm not sure they're going to get out of the basement of the ACC. They can improve. It's only one game. I'm going to say that right now. But my hackles went up. My concern about this team skyrocketed when I watched that game against Citadel because it was just the hallmark of a lot of Earl Grant issues that we've seen before where you're playing a bad team. Citadel was awful last year. The Citadel was really bad. And BC, again, even though the Citadel that was terrible just had to reload through D2 and D3 transfers, BC still struggled to beat them. So this is a big issue. Now, in our final segment, I'm going to break y'all some news because BC just landed a transfer. I was going to have to hold on to it, but he just posted about it. So let's talk about it. I'll get into all that in just a moment. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. Where you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. I'm telling you, folks, when I am watching some football, I have a prebiotic before I have a couple beers. It does the deal. I feel great in the morning. I can do my work. I can deal with my family. It's amazing. It's a game changer. So go to zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege to get more and get 15% off your first order when you use Locked On College at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money back guaranteed. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember to head to checkout and use zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege and use the code lockedoncollege at checkout for 15% off. Now, if you guys are up to going to games, you got to use Game Time. It's the place to go because they have all-in ticket pricing. You can see where your seats are, and they have Game Time picks that'll filter out the fluff so that you get only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I used Game Time to go to a BC football game last year. It was my one game of the year. I knew it was going to rain. I wanted tickets that were under the awning. Found them. Got the prices I wanted. It was done deal. So you take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black. And check out Locked On ACC. They do their weekly squad shows that come out on our feed. You see it. You don't see me because they record when I can't do it, but they talk a lot about ACC sports, and you want to check it out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Now, I was going to tease this, but as I was recording, I got a text that he announced that Holy Cross tight end from Louisiana, and I'm probably messing up how they would pronounce it, tight end Derek Johnson or DJ Johnson has committed to Boston College. This was a kid that had visited Boston College over the summer, came in June. He had also checked out Tulane and Houston and was getting some interesting offers. And I honestly, once they landed Stevie Amar and Bryce Lewis at tight end for the class of 2025, thought this would be the end for their commitment or interest in him. But I was told about a month ago that they were still interested in him. They had him on for campus, I think, for a visit recently. They sealed the deal. So Boston College now has 3 tight ends for this upcoming class. Remember, Boston College can go up to 105 scholarships for next year, and they don't have to have a cap on the upcoming class. So it's all good there. Boston College can do that. I've heard a lot of good things about this kid, and I have to ask the question. Maybe one of you can tell me. Who is the last BC football player that you know of that came from the state of Louisiana? It's few and far between. So he's rated an 86, a 3-star on 247. But another good get. This is number 27 for Boston College. There's still one more that has not committed yet. Now, I'll tell you this. Josiah Victor was on an official visit. He's a defensive lineman from Grayson, Georgia, same class, was on an official visit to NC State. I've talked to folks. I'm not too super concerned about this, even though he took an official visit. BC still thinks he's in good shape, so he's still available. And then Nolan James, a running back from DePaul Catholic, who's been the BC's first commitment. He committed to Jeff Hafley a while ago. He's taking an official visit this weekend to Notre Dame. That one I'm a little bit more concerned about. He's looking there. I've heard buzz that he had a bunch of different offers, but he was going to be either BC or Notre Dame. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. So BC is in good shape right now. On Eagle Insider tomorrow, I will have hopefully the official visit list from the staff. If there's any noticeable names, you're going to be able to find out there. And we'll have updates as they come along. Now, thank you all for listening. On tomorrow's show, I'm going to do a crossover episode. You guys love hearing me interact with other hosts. With Locked On Syracuse, I will tell them why Fran Brown is a fraud. Now, I probably will be harsh on Fran Brown, but I won't say that. So that'll be on tomorrow's show for Thursday. On Friday, we'll have Mitchell Wolf on to talk about the preview and predictions for that game. And then over the weekend on Saturday, after that game goes final, make sure you have subscribed to the Locked On Boston Postcast channel, as I will give you a full episode, a bonus episode, where I talk about the game from the press box at Boston College, because I'll be there. So hopefully you'll check that out. Follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. Check out my work at Eagle Insider. And if you're listening to this on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, hit that like button. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button and hit the little bell so you know when we go live. Thank you also for listening. I'll be back again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day. Thank you all who have made us your first listen, and I'll see you again tomorrow for another episode. Take care, everyone.